Yo, what is up, guys? This is Troy D from the Troy D24 Sepamall channel, your source for on point and no hype reviews. We are back again, everybody. We're back with another fragrance review right here, guys, on my lovely day off. And today I will be talking about, of course, as promised, the latest Dior Homme Parfum for 2025. This is the Francis Kurkdjian version, which a lot of people are reporting is vastly different from the 2014 version, the original by Francois Demachi. Now today, of course, I will be addressing all the mixed feedback everyone is talking about. I'll even compare it to the original Dior Homme Parfum and my thoughts because I really loved that original one. So today, I'm going to give you guys a no hype and no hate breakdown on this latest Dior Homme Parfum. Let's go. Now, before I continue, please do not forget to like and subscribe, guys. Okay, liking, subscribing, and watching the ads is a great big deal to this channel. A lot of the revenue really goes into sample buying and even bottle buying in some cases if I can. And all of this goes back here into the channel. We do make a lot of no hype reviews, over 800 right now, on a lot of fragrances that you guys and gals want to hear about. And of course, if they're new, I'm usually on top of it. So please continue all your support, guys. Deep dive into my no hype videos, spread them around, share it to a friend, and maybe the advice here will help them make a decision before they buy perfumes. Okay, so thank you so much for all your support. And the fragrance that I will be talking about today is none other than, again, the latest Dior fragrance for men. This is none other than Dior Homme Parfum. Yes, 2025, or some people are arguing it's 2024. Either way, this is the fresh new one. And again, this is the Francis Kurkdjian version. All right. Now, the old one, I really like that one. Okay. Again, I reviewed that in the early years of the channel, guys. But of course, we've got a new creative director and there are new versions of all these Dior perfumes. And I did review some of the other ones like Ambre Nuit and Oud Ispahan. They're extrait versions by Francis Kurkdjian. If you want to access those videos, I got those. But this one, I think, hits hard in the fragrance community. And, you know, the original was such a really nice fragrance, okay? I mean, like I said, I loved it specifically because it was an amazing, unique nighttime blend that, to be honest, for years and years, I think only Boudicca was able to really clone that into a fragrance. But for years, really, the original Dior Homme Parfum formula was really great for me. I mean, the blend of, you know, iris, leather, and orange, and then eventually rose in the mid, really created a nice gradient, a nighttime semi-formal to formal perfume that to me, I really truly liked. Now, of course, we've got a new formulation out here, and I reckon this is because maybe the sales of all those old bottles aren't really changing the bottom line of Dior. And when you get a changing of the guard and you put Kurkdjian in and you put new formulations in, really it's to improve the sales or the bottom line sales of Dior and possibly grab a new market. Because like I said, there will be people that have been fragrance collectors maybe for 5-6 years ago, even more than that, that will still stick to the old OG. But there's a whole new market out there of fragrance enthusiasts. You can see it now with the explosion of, you know, YouTube and TikTok. Unfortunately, it's shut down today, but, you know, TikTok as well. You've got a new market of people. So I reckon this is why they are reformulating or changing a lot of their classic perfumes. Now, initially, this release was met with a lot of negative feedback. A lot of people were asking why? Why is this even going on? Why ruin such a good thing? And I already explained that prior, okay? Now, either way, it's done. We've got this new fragrance right here. Can't wait to tell you all about it because what happened was eventually the hate turned into love. And to me, it's kind of like a 50-50 split, or even more towards people that like this formulation. Okay, so anyways, here's my breakdown. Let's go spray this thing right now. Okay, guys, now let's talk about this fragrance right here, the latest Dior Homme Parfum for 2025. the Francis Kurkdjian version. And again, I do have the older Dior Homme Parfum here to compare later on. Anyways, let's start with, to me, the highlight of this perfume, which is the opening, guys. All right, this opening, I gotta say, is lovely. Why? Because you have a dual iris note, kind of like two layers of iris that actually do their own thing. One layer is your typical iris with some slight powderiness and some comforting goodness. But the big one, in my opinion, that, I mean, if you actually have smelled this and you take note of it in your brain, you'll be like, oh yeah, that's what it is. It's rhizome, okay, or orris root, that has a smell that is very close to coffee. And if you have smelled coffee and cardamom fragrances, those blends in particular, or any fragrances that have coffee as kind of like a side note or minor note, notice that it does not smell like coffee beans. It actually smells like this, rhizome. And this rhizome really comes out in a huge amount in this opening. So you have a totally different intro, but is very likable because of this. It's like a double iris note. Like I said, you get some iris, but you get some rhizome, which is kind of like coffee-like, and it is very appealing. I reckon anybody that smells this, that doesn't have any hate in their blood about Dior changing things, if this was bottled somewhere else, I think that some people, a lot of people, will like this intro right here. And of course, this is a big difference maker because the original Dior Homme Parfum starts off in a gradient, all right? The Dior Homme Parfum that we know, the OG, is strictly a nighttime fragrance. Starts off super sensual with orange and leather and iris that develops into even a rose. And so it's totally different because this one right here is definitely more mass appealing. It's mood enhancing and mood calming as well. But on top of this, there are no notes that put this fragrance into a gradient. So it doesn't go into darker sensual territory, which makes this a lot more, way more versatile than the original Dior Homme Parfum. You can wear this in the same way as the original DHP for nighttime occasions, but actually no, this is kind of like a spray anytime, anywhere, mood enhancer, mood calmer here in the new Dior Homme Parfum 2025. And I believe it's because of that coffee-ish orris root note mixed with that iris. All right, this combination is very mainstream likable. Again, many of y'all might feel that it's familiar, smells familiar, because this is really what you get. I truly like it as well. Okay, so now let's talk about initial sillage and projection of this one. This is definitely an aura scent with draw-in properties, again because of that coffee-like rhizome, right? But then also you have the boost of iris initially. So I would say that this is actually, the sillage and projection is pretty good, but there is that comforting feel, that draw-in feel as well when you are wearing this fragrance. Now, a big question here is, what is the coverage of this whole combination? Because as you all know, this is a designer scent, and usually designer scents don't really develop or change like niche scents, okay? So this rhizome and iris combination actually lasts up to 2 to 3 hours, all right? Actually blends in pretty well with the mid, which I will talk about in a few, but that is a long coverage. So again, not only do you get the most likable part here in the beginning, but also you will get a longer coverage of this on this fragrance right here. So more of what you like, which I believe will be another selling point of the new DHP. Now, the mid right here of DHP 2025 is coumarin, guys, all right? And coumarin has this sweet vanillic smell with some hay, all right? So you get that hay-like texture in the mid of DHP 2025 that, again, blends in perfectly with kind of like that sweet iris coffee blend, again, synthetic coffee blend. At least that's how I think about that. But then it goes straight into sweet vanillic hay coumarin, which is really the heart of this fragrance. Now, to me, it's more of a continuum because basically in the mid, you get a lot more body with the coumarin. Like I said, that hay type of feel or texture comes in with the sweetness, but I quite like it. And like I said, it does nothing but even just extend the, very mainstream lovable part of this fragrance. And as y'all know, a lot of sweet notes are much liked at this point in fragcom. So this kind of sweetness from the coumarin and the hay-like feel definitely creates a solid mid that has a continuum from the beginning. Now, one thing y'all will miss if you liked the original DHP is the fact that it doesn't even go into any darker gradient for hours and hours. This is something that the original DHP sets up perfectly from the get-go, okay? And that's what I liked about the original DHP. Whenever I would think about semi-formal to formal occasions and I wanted to smell unique, I knew that nobody else would smell like me. That's when I would pull out this Dior Homme Parfum, the original by Francois Demachy. Now, this one does not get that gradient, all right? So again, this might be translated as a more versatile, more usable fragrance in any weather, and that will expand the fanfare of this new Dior Homme Parfum 2025. But definitely, because of the coumarin mid, and minus, there's no leather, there's no there's no gradient notes, you will not get that fade to black ending, even for literally 3, 4, 5, 6 hours into this fragrance. So that's something to take note of. Okay, now finally, let's talk about the dry down of this fragrance right here, because I'm sure at the dry down stage you guys are curious, will it finally go into some sort of a gradient? The answer is actually yes. You have right here in the dry down an amber accord that has amber, in my opinion, tonka bean, because it continues kind of like the hay-like texture right there, mixes in with vetiver as well. And then on the late dry down, you have some appearance of dark woody patchouli, all right, which is to me the true dark gradient of this fragrance. But it really, to me, doesn't happen till the end. Really, there's just a real switch in going from coumarin into amber tonka, and maybe that patchouli brings in the gradient sensual fade to black, but it's still not truly in the quality. I feel like it's just like an ambery woody accord, earthy with a vetiver towards the end of this fragrance, guys. All right, so again, yes, slightly going into fade to black, but I really feel like it's not in the character of this fragrance right here to be that type of perfume. And that is truly the biggest difference between this and the original Dior Homme Parfum. Okay, so what is my verdict on this fragrance right here? I got no hate in my bones, guys, and that's the reason why I'm okay with this. I really don't care about people that judge my reviews, or I don't really care about the prices of these things because I really just buy samples. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't, I don't have any resentment over anyone or any company. So I'm gonna say I like this one. Okay, I do not look at other reviewers. I don't care what they say, but this is a very likable perfume. Okay, doesn't matter if it was called Dior Homme Parfum or Dior Homme Intense or whatever. I really feel like this is a very, very good usable perfume. And by the way, when it came to compliments, I got a lot more, in my opinion, a lot more compliments on this one compared to the original Dior Homme Parfum. But totally different character. And like I said, the versatility will get you. I really feel like, I got a sizable decant because I got to wear this a lot. And I realized that I could wear this even in the daytime, like springtime, I could use this. It's not really restricted to fall winter. And the funny thing is, I actually ordered a DHP 2014 sample because I eventually sold my lovely bottle of DHP a few years ago. And the big reason was that it was restricted to really nighttime semi-formal to formal occasions, which is within, fragrance collecting. There's just a lot of fragrances that do that. And I found myself not really using my DHP so much. So I eventually sold it or traded it for something else. I wouldn't mind picking one up again in the future. But right now, I'm a night shift nurse. There's really not so much need for me to be wearing these like the OG, so I really didn't need it anymore. But I reckon if you are a social butterfly, or you do go out at night and you go to really nice opulent dinners or events, the original DHP is definitely still in play. It's definitely still good. It's definitely usable in those occasions, and because it is now out of production, it would be a good idea to buy some bottles just in case. All right, so that I'm gonna say, I'm not gonna diminish the role of the OG. However, I will say this, that this one right here is not restricted to that. This one is definitely a lot more, I would say, likable, usable, doesn't go into a gradient. It's a mood enhancer, mood calmer. So I reckon a lot of people will like this. Unfortunately, there's just the old guard of Fragcom that find it very hard to accept change. But, change is nothing but a constant in this world, guys. All right. So that is why I'm okay with them changing things up and bringing something new like this. It's not bad smelling. It's great smelling. Okay. So I like it. Now, performance wise, this fragrance for me lasted past 12 hours. I could still smell that ambery accord past that. But for me, the real strength of this really went up to 10 to 11. And it was kind of like just remnants of that amber accord past that. You can definitely smell it past 12, guys. But to me, 11 hours is the true strength of this fragrance right here. But nevertheless, strong intro though, if you spray it on yourself. Really nice, strong aura scent here in the intro. That is the total performance of this fragrance. And finally, let's look into the cost of this fragrance. Is it full bottle worthy for the cost? Now, in my opinion, it is full bottle worthy. Again, because of the versatility and the mood that it brings and the compliments that it brings, I would say that it is full bottle worthy. Okay, I mean, for me, because I try a lot of fragrances, this 5 ml sample is actually more than enough, because I do have a lot of fragrances that I try on a daily basis. But for someone that just has like a core collection of maybe 20 fragrances, I think that this is a nice addition. And the price as well isn't crazy. $180, not a big deal. It's kind of standard actually. I mean, only way you'd get pissed with that is if you actually have a lower budget on perfumes. But if you have a standard budget on perfumes and you're riding the hype wave, then I would say that this is really not an expensive bottle to own. So in my opinion, price is awesome, full bottle worthiness is there. And that is it. That's my no hype review on the latest Dior Homme Parfum 2025 by Francis Kurkdjian right here. Let me know in the comments below what y'all think of this fragrance. I don't care if it's good or bad. If you really still want to stick to your guns and you love the OG that much and you can't accept this new one, that's fine if you want to say that below. But also, if you guys tried it and liked it, let me know how you felt wearing this fragrance as well. Or did you guys initially not like it, then when you start wearing it, you liked it even more? Let me know what you think of this fragrance right here. But either way, for me, this one falls into super usable, super pleasant, very likable by the crowd type fragrance, crowd pleaser, if you will. And so I think it's a cool release. Thank you, Francis Kurkdjian, for this. Now, I will review the Dior Homme Intense 2 that will come out, and I reckon a lot of people will feel pretty icky about this as well, because I know that Dior Homme Intense is the favorite of a lot of fragrance enthusiasts out there. And again, they're gonna change this up, so I cannot wait to try the latest one as well. All right, so thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next video. I'm headed back to work. Please do not forget to like and subscribe as we go to 25K. I'll see you guys on the next video. God bless. Take care. Peace.